The fluorescent lights of Chicago O'Hare International Airport cast harsh shadows across Gate B7 as Marcus Williams adjusted his navy suit jacket and checked his Rolex. The CEO of Williams Financial Group had built his empire from nothing. A kid from Detroit's East Side who now controlled one of America's largest private equity firms, managing over $50 billion in assets. Today, he was flying first class to New York for a meeting that would reshape the aviation industry. What happened next would cost Skyline Airlines more than they ever imagined possible. Marcus had arrived early for his 6:15 p.m. flight, settling into his premium seat with his laptop open, reviewing the final details of a massive infrastructure deal. Skyline Airlines had been courting his firm for months, seeking a $5.2 billion investment to modernize their aging fleet and expand international routes. The paperwork sat in his briefcase, signatures that would transform the struggling carrier into a major player. 20 minutes before takeoff, a commotion erupted near the boarding gate. A middle-aged white passenger was arguing loudly with the gate agent, his voice carrying across the terminal. "I paid for first class. That seat should be mine," the man shouted, pointing directly at Marcus. "How do I know he didn't steal that ticket? Look at him. Does he look like he belongs in first class?" Marcus glanced up from his laptop, recognizing the familiar sting of racial profiling. At 45, he'd experienced enough discrimination to know when it was happening. But he also knew his power. Forbes had just named him one of America's most influential black executives. His net worth exceeded that of some small nations. The gate agent, a young woman named Sarah, looked uncomfortable. "Sir, I've checked his ticket multiple times. Mr. Williams is in the correct seat." "Williams?" the passenger scoffed. "Probably using someone else's name. I'm calling security." Despite Sarah's protests, airport security arrived within minutes. 3 officers approached Marcus's seat, their body language immediately aggressive. The lead officer, a burly man with grained temples, didn't ask for identification first. "Sir, we need you to step off the aircraft," he commanded. Marcus remained calm, his voice steady. "May I ask why?" "I have a valid ticket and boarding pass. We've received reports of suspicious behavior. Please comply." Other passengers turned to stare, phones emerging to record the unfolding drama. Marcus recognized the script. He'd seen too many videos of people who looked like him being removed from planes for suspicious behavior that somehow never applied to white passengers. "I'm Marcus Williams, CEO of Williams Financial Group," he said, offering his identification. "I believe there's been a misunderstanding." The officer barely glanced at the ID. "Sir, if you don't comply voluntarily, we'll be forced to remove you." Marcus looked around the cabin. Flight attendants avoided eye contact. Passengers whispered among themselves. The complaining passenger smirked from his middle seat in coach, apparently satisfied with the chaos he'd created. "I understand," Marcus said quietly, closing his laptop. "I'll comply." As he gathered his belongings, Marcus caught the eye of Sarah, the gate agent. She mouthed "I'm sorry" as security escorted him down the jet bridge. The walk felt eternal past the business travelers, the families, the students, all witnesses to his humiliation. In the terminal, the lead security officer finally examined Marcus's identification properly. His face went pale as he read the name, likely recognizing it from business news. But the damage was done. "Mr. Williams," the officer stammered, "there seems to have been a mistake. You're free to reboard." Marcus slipped his ID back into his wallet. "Thank you, but I'll make other arrangements." The officer hesitated. "Sir, If you'd like to file a complaint, I'll handle this through appropriate channels, Marcus replied. As he walked toward the exit, Marcus pulled out his phone and dialed his assistant. Jennifer, cancel the Skyline Airlines meeting. All of them. Permanently. Sir? The $5.2 billion deal? Dead. And Jennifer? Get me Tom Bradley at Apex Airlines. Tell him we're ready to move forward with their proposal. The next morning, Marcus's story dominated headlines across the nation. The video, captured by multiple passengers, went viral within hours. Skyline security trended globally as celebrities, politicians, and business leaders condemned the airline's actions. Skyline's stock price plummeted 18% in early trading. By noon, Marcus had received calls from 3 major news networks, the NAACP, and Skyline Airlines CEO, Richard Peterson. He declined the first 3 and let Peterson go to voicemail. When he finally returned Peterson's call, the conversation was brief. Marcus, I am personally horrified by what happened, Peterson began. This doesn't represent our company values. We're conducting a full investigation, and we want to make this right. Richard, Marcus interrupted, you had months to demonstrate your company's values. Yesterday, I saw them clearly. Please, let's discuss compensation. We value our relationship with Williams Financial Group. There is no relationship, Marcus said. We're done. The financial impact hit Skyline immediately. Beyond losing the $5.2 billion investment, Marcus's public withdrawal triggered a broader investor flight. Within 72 hours, 3 other major institutional investors pulled out, citing concerns about corporate culture and judgment. Marcus didn't stop there. At an emergency board meeting of the Williams Financial Group, he announced a new initiative, the Corporate Accountability Fund, a $500 million pool specifically designed to invest in companies that demonstrated genuine commitment to diversity and inclusion. We will no longer separate our financial decisions from our values, he told the room of managing directors. Capital has power, and we're going to use it responsibly. The fund's first major investment went to Apex Airlines, Skyline's primary competitor. The $3.8 billion deal allowed Apex to acquire newer planes and expand routes that Skyline had been planning to serve. 6 months later, Skyline Airlines filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The company that had once been America's 4th largest carrier couldn't recover from the cascading financial losses and reputational damage. In his testimony before Congress about discrimination in air travel, Marcus was asked if he regretted his response. I regret that it was necessary, he said. But I don't regret using my resources to hold companies accountable. Economic consequences are often the only language that creates real change. The security officers involved were terminated, but Marcus noted that individual accountability wasn't enough. Systems that allow discrimination to flourish must be dismantled, not just individuals who execute it. A year later, the incident had become a Harvard Business School case study in corporate crisis management and the power of stakeholder capitalism. Marcus had leveraged his influence to create lasting change in the aviation industry, with most major airlines implementing new anti-discrimination protocols and bias training. During a keynote speech at the National Urban League's annual conference, Marcus reflected on the experience. They thought they were removing a troublesome passenger, he said to thunderous applause. They didn't realize they were removing $5 billion from their company's future. That's the power of economic dignity when we refuse to separate our dollars from our values. The Skyline incident became more than just another viral video of airport discrimination. It demonstrated how economic power, when wielded strategically, could enforce accountability in ways that protests and petitions sometimes couldn't achieve alone. Marcus Williams had turned his humiliation into a movement, proving that sometimes the most effective response to injustice isn't just moral outrage, it's making discrimination expensive enough that companies can't afford to allow it. In the end, Skyline Airlines learned the costliest lesson in corporate history: respect isn't just the right thing to do, it's good business. And disrespect, as they discovered, can literally bankrupt you.